Dudecast.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Dudecast. I'm Mitch.
I'm little boy Blue, Harry.
I'm Duke.
I'm Chicks.
Welcome to episode 6, I believe, and the second video episode, which we're filming the same day as the last one, hence why we're in the same clothes.
It's alone.
We're all very poor and we have one set of clothes.
So please donate.
We're here today with the episode on conspiracy theories. First question I guess I want to ask is there any major conspiracy theories that you think might be true or have some merit in being true?
No.
That haven't already been proven.
That haven't already been proven.
Okay.
None that come to mind. There's some stupid fucking theories out there.
There are some very stupid ones out there, but there are some that have some sort of ability to potentially...
I suppose 9/11 then, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
I can't say I believe any of them, but out of all the ones that I do know, the most believable, and I'm not saying I do believe them, but the most believable would be 9/11 or the moon landing. They would be two of the most believable.
The moon landing.
Taking the moon landing. I'm not, as I said, I don't believe in any of those conspiracy theories, but out of all of the ones I do know, they are the two most believable.
Okay.
As in the two that are actually feasible.
Yeah, I don't put any merit at all into the moon landing. I don't know if that's the right word for that context, but...
You believe the moon landing happened?
No.
You don't think it happened?
No, I don't believe,
it did happen.
the faking of the moon landing happened.
So you believe they went to the moon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just want to clarify.
I do.
Yeah.
What about you, Shells? Is there any that you think could be true?
Look, if I don't know of any that I believe to be true, there may be one out there that I do.
So you don't believe in 9/11 conspiracy?
Don't believe in 9/11. No, I don't.
Do you?
I think, as Gook said, the most likely to be true would be 9/11. That or the major ones that I know, because that has the most questions behind how it fell.
And the guy who used to work there apparently saying that he heard bombs go off.
And I actually have a bit of information
and how the planes crashed. Yeah,
looked into it about, but we'll get to that in a minute.
But
we'll get to that in a minute.
Who's going to get punched in the face by Buzz Aldrin? We all know this.
Well, we'll get to that
I believe the moon landing actually happened. I'm just saying, out of all the ones I know, they're the two most plausible.
Our special guest, Buzz Aldrin.
I have a little bit of info.
We'll get into that then and see.
So one of the biggest questions on the moon landing was why was the flag that they planted on there waving like it's in the wind? Because there's no wind on the moon.
Yeah, but there is momentum. As soon as you put it down, because there's no resistance, it doesn't stop, it just keeps waving.
So the theory got debunked, and it was because astronauts had fans in their suits to cool them down because of the temperature. And the fans just created a bit of blow.
Is that it? I thought it was momentum.
According to what I looked up, that's it. It could be that as well. I don't know.
Maybe it's a bit of both, yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of the biggest ones, as well as the moon surface being too hot during the day and the film would have melted. They were another two things, because the moon surface is apparently very hot, but the moon has no atmosphere, so aside from on the ground, it wasn't hot at all.
Yeah, there's nothing keeping the heat there.
Exactly, so that debunked that pretty quickly.
The other one I heard was, how did they film? But the camera's clearly on their chest.
Yeah.
People think they should be holding up a camera.
Where's their iPhone?
But it's just installed into their chest.
Yeah, so the moon landing, from what I've read, every single theory that could possibly be has been debunked and explained.
People would have seen the rocket go up into the air. You can't fake that.
Well, there was no one on the rocket.
Yeah, you could fake the rocket just going up and not making it all the way to space, but...
Yeah, well, they've had plenty of test runs before
just
that,
sending it off into space, not necessarily.
And then when the people can't see it, just saying, went to space.
Because the Russians were the first ones to make it to space, weren't they?
Something like that, yeah. I'm pretty sure they were the first ones to make it into space, and then, obviously.
And America was the first one to land on the moon.
Yeah.
The space race.
Do you guys know much about the JFK assassination conspiracy theory?
I know there was a theory that it's two shots.
It was two shots. There's the theory that it was two different shooters.
Yeah.
So that might
one headshot and one
body shot, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got hit with two bullets.
What hit him first? The headshot or the body shot?
I don't know, but
I imagine if, the first one hits the head, there's not really much of a call for a body shot.
True.
But if the body shot hit first and it doesn't kill him, then there would be a need for a second one.
Yeah, but look, I have not looked into this hardly at all, but
Yeah.
one thing I have heard, that one of the possibilities of why there was a second shot was because the shooter shot JFK in the head and killed him, and the guard behind him reacted, accidentally fired his gun and shot from the vehicle behind.
yeah, okay.
But I don't know if that's true
Yeah.
or not. That's just something I've heard.
Well, I'm sure that would be pretty easily to be like
Yeah, that'd be really easily proven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they would know if it happened.
Yeah, but why would they reveal that? Because it just gets the guy in trouble,
Even though he didn't.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming Shells knows the answer to this, but do you know who the shooter was? Do you remember the name?
They didn't find out who the shooter was.
John Wilkes?
Really?
No, not John Wilkes.
Yeah.
That was Lincoln.
I thought I'm super confused. I thought there was a mystery.
No, Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter.
Lee Harvey
supposed
Oswald.
shooter. But so I've got a couple points here about the JFK assassination that people argue. The bullet trajectories from where Lee Harvey Oswald stood doesn't match up to where he got hit. Like, it wouldn't have been able to shoot from the trajectory where he was standing. So that's why there's believed there's a second shooter, because one of them matches up, one of them doesn't.
Yeah.
And then there is another one, which is JFK had a failed invasion of Cuba, which was called the Bay of Pigs, in an attempt to push their leader, Fidel Castro, from power, which led to the CIA being angry with Kennedy and taking him out. Because they got a lot of their people killed because it was a failed invasion, made them look weak, blah, 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 which would have been under the instruction of the vice president at the time.
I feel like if that was true, then they wouldn't have Biden as the president currently.
Yeah. Hold on, but if the whole thing is do they not want the CIA to look weak or America to look weak?
CIA look weak.
Well, then doesn't the CIA and America look weak that their president was killed? Doesn't that look like a massive weakness?
sense.
But that's one of the major conspiracies.
Like, it looks like a glaring. The president was
can't even
killed.
protect
Can't
the
even protect the
president.
most powerful person. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does, and I agree.
Is that why they have the thing now when presidents go for drives, though, the big glass tank?
Yeah, they have the beast. It's called the beast.
Is that what it is?
It's called the best.
I'm assuming that's because of that.
Yeah. It's preventing assassination. Because he was on top of. Like, he was not sitting in the car of it.
Yeah, he was like on the back seat,
He was
sitting
like
up on
up atop on like a open topped car.
It was literally like
Begging
a
people.
sitting duck.
Come get me.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of these conspiracy theories, because it happened to someone so important, people feel like there has to be another reason behind it.
Yeah.
It can't be just like
Someone shot them, yeah.
because that can't happen. That's the president.
Yeah, true.
He's protected
People
by
look more into
invisible
it.
force fields.
People look more into it than they have to.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it just happened like they thought it happened.
Yeah, because Reagan was nearly assassinated as well. There was an assassination attempt against Reagan.
Yep.
He just failed.
Yep.
So if that happened, would there be a conspiracy theory?
What
that
was the Reagan assassination attempt?
I don't know enough about it. Someone ran up to him with a pistol and tried to shoot him.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they didn't kill him. I don't know if he even got shot. I don't know.
That's a horrible assassination.
Maybe the
Look, you
gun.
walk up with a flintlock pistol and you take one shot and then get tackled? What's going on here?
Yeah.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
It was a fake assassination.
Yeah, they just
to make the president look strong again.
it was a scare tactic.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're building back the president. Yeah. I think these how these things work.
It actually probably is.
It's too much time on people's hand. People going, I can't accept the simple
Yeah.
reason because that's too simple. Because these people are too
There
powerful.
has to be more behind
There has to be another reason.
It's a lot of conspiracy theories for sure.
Another couple common ones is the flat Earth conspiracy theory.
that makes no
I'm assuming
sense.
none of us give any merit to.
It doesn't even make any
Yeah,
sense.
clearly it's a flat Earth and ice around the outside. Everyone
It's so
knows that.
stupid because if that was true, then it would be able to be proven that it's
You would
flat.
also not be able to, like, circumnavigate the world by going in one direction, because at that point you're going to hit
It's just
an
so
impassable
silly.
barrier.
Like, what country do they think is near the ice wall? They don't. They think it's like every country in like
So
water and then ice.
Antarctica
is the
surrounds.
outside.
Oh my god.
Antarctica is not one place; it's the whole.
Yeah.
So Antarctica is like so huge then.
Yeah,
It's big enough to.
It's
fucking,
just an ice wall, like I don't know,
like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Like the one that
Keeping the White Walkers out. That's good. New theory. That's why.
Game of Thrones is a true story.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
The Kraken shit.
Have you seen the video where there's a flat earther who goes out to prove that the Earth is flat, and he does an experiment?
Oh, and he proves himself wrong.
He accidentally proves that the Earth is flat.
Is he still a flat earther or is he still in denial?
I don't know. I haven't really seen the video. I haven't looked into it.
It's like when they go in space, do they not see the curvature of the Earth when they look down? Like,
No, because
That's all
real.
faked.
Yeah, it's all fake.
yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
it was
They
fake.
think every picture of Earth is fake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called Sci-Fi Dan who has something called Flat Earth Fridays, and all he does is
debunk their theory.
he just takes a bunch of flat earthers' videos going, this is why the Earth's flat, this is disproving the globe theory, and then just shits on them.
Good. That sounds fun.
The
actually.
globe theory? Are we the globe theory?
Yes, we are the globe theory.
Yeah, we're the conspiracy.
So we're a theory.
And then there's obviously like the COVID conspiracy, 5G, all that sort of stuff.
So I know how that one's explained. It's because with 5G is generally where a high density population is. And with a high density population, COVID's going to spread quicker.
That makes a lot of sense.
But then you got countries that don't even have 5G that got COVID and still believe it, which is just ridiculous.
Now, there's clearly a secret 5G tower.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. They need a reason for COVID. They need it to be like the government making it.
That's it, mate. Population control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad population
It was
control.
actually released by Fauci.
It's a pretty bad population control because how many people, if it was, how many people has COVID killed? Like, I know it's killed a decent amount, but nothing that's going to actually make a difference to the
Like
population.
5% of the population is not something.
No way, 5%.
I was like, can you look up how many deaths there are?
Yeah, Harry, you look up.
All right, because I
5%
feel
of the population would be like 350 million. That feels like a lot.
that's what I'm thinking. I don't feel like it's that many.
I don't know. Over the whole world, I don't know.
But
I'd be interested.
I mean, America had huge casualties
They
to
did.
COVID.
maybe.
They had millions, didn't they, of deaths?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's millions. Yeah, there'd have to be.
6.87 million.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot lower. What's that in terms of population of the Earth?
Well, the Earth's
there's
about
7 billion,
5%.
Well, it was
that's-
7.6 last I looked at it.
Yeah, it's
Probably gone way up since then.
There's been 675 million cases, but only 6.87 million deaths.
675 million
Cases. But that's what I'm saying. Even if the government did come up with that as an idea to, put society's population in check, it didn't work.
I mean,
6
million deaths is just under 1% of the population, so it kind of worked.
Not enough. If you're going to go for it, you have to do something. What is that going to do? It's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
And I don't think they would do population control because governments make money from tax.
Yeah, exactly.
So therefore, more people,
more
more
money.
money.
More people, if anything, more people they can rip off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But more people means less resources to share amongst everyone.
Which means stuff's more expensive.
But they don't care because
Which
they're
means
rich. They
rich
have
people-
their resources.
Exactly.
They don't care about
rich
the poor
get
not
richer,
having
poor get
resources.
There's already enough resources to feed everyone in the world.
The rich people don't care if there's not enough resources.
Rich get richer, poor get poorer.
Yeah.
Well, especially what happened during COVID. Like, that's when
That's actually a better theory.
when
there.
Amazon made so much money.
That's actually another conspiracy theory. That's one that I actually would believe in more, where they might have made it so they got richer.
yeah.
That's actually a more believable theory.
That's more believable. I
Rather
still
than
don't believe it.
population.
Yeah, because look what happened.
Yeah.
The richer got richer, the poorer got poor.
Big Pharma
A
got
lot of
richer
people,
too.
a lot of small
Big Pharma
businesses,
got massively
a lot of
rich.
small businesses went out of business.
But
Yeah.
it does show you when the world works together and you eliminate some of the bureaucracy, how quickly you can come up with a vaccine. 'Cause what was it? How long was it? A year?
It wasn't
Yeah,
long.
it was like
pretty
10
amazing.
months
It was
a
a
year,
pretty
and,
amazing. I think it was quicker than they expected.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But what about the conspiracy theories behind the vaccine being bad? And
Well, that's not even a conspiracy theory. There's proof that there has been bad reactions to
bad reaction doesn't mean vaccine's bad, though. It just means
True.
it's bad for certain people with certain previous conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
But, like, it is very quick given most vaccines and stuff, they test over years and years and years on animals to make sure it doesn't have any bad. Like, we don't know in 10 years' time it might
even
have
this
negative
one,
effects.
yeah, but even this one has had less effects than some other vaccines that have in the past. I lost my train of thought. The side effects of COVID, especially long COVID, are actually pretty devastating for a lot of people. Like, I don't know, do you guys know what long COVID is? Have you looked into that?
I haven't heard that phrase before.
Yeah, so long COVID is the side effect of what happens to a certain percent of the population after COVID, that they have prolonged fatigue.
Yeah, I had that.
The ability to, but they still have it today.
Oh, shit.
Like, it doesn't go away.
I know someone who's basically dying from it.
From long COVID.
Because you had it too for a little bit, didn't you?
I still have elevated heart rate and stuff, so I have some symptoms.
Yeah.
of long
Yeah,
COVID,
I don't have any symptoms now, but I remember for like 3 months after I had COVID, I felt like I could only do like 90%.
Yeah, and then, so this, what happens is, for some people have had to retire from work because they've had this long COVID, and their body just doesn't work. It's not coming back to normal. Yeah.
Wow, that's
this person's like liver's shut down from long COVID, just from long COVID, and they're basically dying.
Yeah, that's intense.
You haven't had COVID, have you, Gook?
I've never taken a COVID test. I may have had it at some point, but
I've never taken a test.
To be fair, you hardly leave the house.
exactly.
I doubt you have, because you would have known.
I'm pretty sure my old man's never taken.
We all had COVID, and
Yeah,
you could tell it was like a really bad flu.
Yeah, for me, I really struggled to concentrate. Like, I remember I was really sick. Day 3 was the worst one for me, and I tried to put on a movie just to watch. I just couldn't pay attention.
You must have had it worse than me, because I didn't have the concentration. Did you have the concentration fatigue?
I had it twice. The first one was probably a bit worse.
Yeah,
I never had that concentration.
It was only one day. It was day 3. I tried to watch a new movie I hadn't seen before, and I couldn't concentrate enough to follow the storyline. So I just put on something I'd seen before
because you don't need to pay.
Because I don't need to pay attention. That was the only thing. It was only for one day, and then the same thing happened a couple of days. I took a week off for work, and the first 5 days I was infectious, and the last 2 days I could have come to work because I was testing negative, but they're lucky to stay. Anyway.
Just to doubly make sure.
Yeah, but getting up those 2 days, I kind of had like a fake run of getting up for work, like
just to test
wake myself up early.
Did you get long COVID?
And I was really tired. No, I was just I was tired. I was just
no, but that was like 2 days after you had it. I'm talking.
Yeah, and I had after that I had where I wasn't right for about a month.
Yeah,
I think until I was 100% again. But
yeah, it is a bit freaky when your body. When you can tell it's
when
not
your legs don't work like they used to.
Yeah, exactly.
I did the beep test about 3 months after I had COVID, and I was on like 1 point something or approaching 2. So I started the beep test. My heart rate was like 190. I'm like, fuck, I'm stopping this now.
Otherwise you could literally die.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not good. So it really fucked with my heart rate forever.
Does it still do that?
No, it's basically fixed itself now. But I got COVID like 2 years ago.
To be fair, we're relatively young. We're like 28, we're all 28, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, the person I know with long COVID is early 30s.
I don't think many people in their 20s have died from COVID. But anyway, we've talked about, this isn't the COVID podcast, but before I just want to look up one more thing. How many people in their 20s have died from COVID?
Well, yeah,
do you guys have
it is more people.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a very low number.
Yeah, let's everyone guess. I'm going to guess
percentage or number.
A number. I'm going to guess 30,000.
I was going for 50, but
Of the 6 million,
that died.
I'll go 100.
That's probably a big guess.
Yeah, I'll go 170.
And I can't find it.
Yeah. Good question.
Because I feel like 30,000 out of 6 million is a.
Well,
But it is majority older people, and
It's 3.9. It's 3.9% of the deaths.
so
That's 18 between 44, by the way. That's the statistic they gave us. The 0 to 17, 18 to 44.
of 6 million.
Yeah.
someone could do that. Okay.
But that's obviously a lot more than 40,000.
Yeah. Just do it. So 6.
Well, what's 1% of 6 million?
3.9% of
6 million.
6.
You could have just done it on a calculator. It would have been quite quick.
Trust me, it wouldn't have been for me.
I could have just done.
Well, that's just loading. So what's next? I first feed a Duke. Come on.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. 234,000. That's
Yeah,
way more.
That's
than
way
20.
more than we thought.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of people.
That wasn't just in their 20s though.
That was
18 to 44.
So that
So
could have been
I was
accurate.
probably-
Yeah. Shut your mouth. You're not hosting anymore.
Oh, it's okay. Alright, so another one is Area 51.
Oh, yeah.
What are our thoughts on that? Do we know much about it? Do we
I've said it
believe
before.
anything about it?
And I'll say it again. I don't believe that if aliens have visited Earth, then they would have crash landed, or the government would have been able to get their hands on them willingly. The aliens would have had to let the government. Maybe they're working with the government there secretly, but it's not like the government found like a wrecked alien ship.
The technology that
That's
have
what I'm saying.
to travel this far.
Their technology would have to be so fucking advanced that there was no way we'd ever just be like, be able to capture a UFO or an alien.
I can imagine that Area 51, it's a military base, right?
Correct. It's an Air
I
Force
can
base.
imagine that it's an Air Force base where some scientists are studying extraterrestrial possibilities.
They might have studying like contacts from extraterrestrials, or
Yeah.
maybe like deep space items that have come into our solar system. I
Yeah.
don't fucking know. What do you think, Gookinator?
Yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on Area 51.
Because he's a fucking alien.
Gook's just like shit. Because Gook escaped there.
To be honest, I think that if you're going to have a secret base that talks about aliens and stuff, why then does everyone know about it? Because
Yeah,
you can't
that's
really
true.
be what they say it is if everyone
True, if there is a
knows
secret
about
base,
that.
it's not Area 51.
Or
Yeah.
do they reveal it so people think there is, so people think there isn't?
I think they just don't reveal it. People don't think there is.
If you have a base that is doing alien experiments or what have you, you don't make that public knowledge.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
you're right. Area 51 is completely hoax. Area 52.
Yeah.
Well, they released no information on Area 51. That's why people had to they knew it was a thing, but they didn't know what it did. They knew nothing about it. So they're like, oh, it must
People
be
just make
aliens.
up
It must
shit,
be.
So
like,
secret. What's the most secret things? Aliens.
It wasn't until
Yeah.
2013 that they released anything.
And what was
they declassified documents about the history of U-2, which is an aircraft they developed in 1955 for the war, after the war.
So it's just secret military weaponry stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Yeah, because in 1955, they tested a high altitude thing for the aircraft after the war, and they did it again a few years later.
And people thought that was UFO.
No, they just thought
Wouldn't shock me.
they just didn't know what it was, and the government weren't releasing anything.
Ah,
then
yeah.
they declassified that in 2013 because there was a Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
Made them do it, which then revealed that. But it's not accessible to the public. It's under 24 hours surveillance. You can only reach it by plane, and only certain planes are allowed to fly over it because it's a no-fly zone.
Wow.
It's satellite imaging. There's satellite imaging of it as of 2018. So
What, was that when the raid of the...
Oh yeah, that big social media.
There was gonna be like ninja. There was gonna be like all these different
Yeah,
memes
store.
like running all these different people. Apparently, some people actually showed up,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, of course.
obviously not enough to like
To raid
raid.
base.
It's so
Like,
funny.
satellite imaging of it was censored up until 2018.
Yeah, I can just...
Yeah.
They're just probably building military weaponry that they don't want other people to know about.
Air Force. It's mainly Air Force stuff from the information out there. But yeah, you're right. It's probably all sorts of other military stuff, but it's visible on Google Maps apparently. Yeah. So
Well, does
Interesting.
military encompass all of it, doesn't it? Air Force, Navy.
yeah. Military is all three. Yeah. Anything else on that?
Not unless you're going to Naruto run.
Let's start another raid.
What about the island of celebrities that are
Oh,
dead?
that one is just stupid.
Tupac is definitely dead.
Tupac, Elvis, all the other celebrities. They're
Michael
alive on
Jackson.
an island together.
But why would they want to hang out with each other? And why would you want to go to an island?
It's such a silly
Yeah,
theory.
it's so dumb.
Like, do they not age when they get to the island? Like, older than alive?
That's it. They don't age.
That's why they go there, because it's like...
That's Area 52.
It's
that makes sense! Holy shit.
It's, where does Frodo go?
Oh, yeah, the Farlands at the end of Lord of the Rings.
That's where they are.
Yeah.
So, Elvis and Frodo and...
They all got on a boat with some pointy-eared dudes and sailed off into the sunset.
Because you can't die there, isn't it? Yeah.
So is that like heaven?
It's technically...
It's the Arthur.
Yeah, it's technically heaven.
We have to do an episode of Lord of the Rings one day.
We do. Alright, the last...
Still my topic.
The last major conspiracy theory I want to talk about, because I've got a lot of minor ones that have been either proven or slightly proven, which I'll make a little game of, but 9/11, obviously. I kept that to last because, one, I've got the most information about it, and two, we all basically said it would be one of, if not the most likely to, not that we believe it, but it would be the most likely.
When was it? 2001?
Yeah.
Jeez, so we were 6. When this happened.
So you were there? You were saying that you were...
I drove the plane.
Holy shit.
So
I have it on video. Proof.
Someone from Tasmania.
Yeah, wow. I can post that online and say... Well, we are posting it. It's online.
Did you guys... Because the first time I ever saw the incident was in high school where Miss Brown showed it to us.
Yeah.
That's the first time I saw it, so that was 2008 or something.
True, but I'm sure we would have learned about it much earlier.
But I hadn't seen
America.
any of the footage. Yeah, well, we're not American.
Well, we got told by her at school, Harry.
I don't remember that.
It was when we grade 1, we got told.
It must have been
that something
busy
happened.
must have been
America.
busy
I think
that
I was
day.
probably told as well, but I didn't.
I mean, you were busy that day, remember? We met up out... We did some
I'm
primary
pretty sure it was somewhere.
Yeah. We had some business to attend. Well, one of the major conspiracies behind it is apparently the Air Force could have stopped the attack, but was ordered to stand down. So they knew the attack was happening and could have stopped it, but didn't. They were told not to.
Yeah, but
I feel like the casualties, if they had shot down a civilian airliner, would have exceeded what happened if they'd actually let it crash.
well, depends
If you
what
think
it
about it, they
crashes
shoot
into.
it, that breaks up it all and hits multiple buildings.
It all depends where...
That's a lot more, civilian casualties than just one
Well,
building.
it depends, though. It's one of those things, if you ran it as a simulation 1,000 times, sometimes it would do more, sometimes it would do less. You can't really say for sure, can you?
Well, and then you don't know. I guess also the lack of information stops you from acting as well.
Yeah.
You don't know it's taken over, and then when something's gone wrong, like why has it gone wrong?
Yeah.
Is the pilot out of fuel? Is it they making emergency landing? Has it been hijacked?
Oh, no, did they not know?
I don't know. I don't know how much.
I feel like they would
couldn't
have known it was hijacked.
They couldn't have known all of this.
It would have been off flight path. They wouldn't have been replying to the radio, even if they ran out of
Yeah. But there must have been the period of time where they just don't know what's going on.
a small period.
And then when they start to learn stuff, they don't know all the information yet. It's so easy
have
to
to
talk
act
about.
quick.
So easy to talk about what they should have done, but if you don't know what's happening, it's hard to make.
And you have to act quick. It'd be a fucking lot of pressure.
Do you remember how long it was between the first and second plane hitting the tower?
I have no idea. I think
I completely forgot there was a second plane.
Was there a matter of minutes, or was it like
I think
10,
it was.
15,
I think it was
20?
a while because hardly anyone recorded the first plane hitting, and then they got people were filming it. And then the second plane came in. So
There was by the sounds of it, there was a decent amount of time between
So
the first and
could they
second.
have shot down the second plane, knowing what the first plane did?
yeah,
Yes, but
potentially.
then you still have the same issue of extended area of effect. You shoot down a plane, it's got to land somewhere. And in the middle of a busy city, it's
it's not like
going
you
to do
can
a
push
lot
it
of
into the
damage.
water.
True,
No.
true.
Not like you can get a tow cable on.
Yeah.
And I guess people are probably having these debates in the Air Force.
Yeah.
While time's
Should we
ticking
do
down.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He hit again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then wasn't there a third one that was going to go to the Pentagon?
There was one that hit the Pentagon. There was a fourth one that was going to go somewhere else. Can't remember where it was, but it got supposedly overtaken by people on the plane, and they took back control, and it crashed into a field somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
And did they all
Where
die
was that
still?
one? Do you know where that one was going to go? Oh, the White House.
Yeah. Pretty much,
That's
yes.
insane.
So because the Pentagon did get hit by the third plane, the Pentagon was supposedly hit by a missile fired by the government, not a plane. They reckon because the hole it made in the building was way narrower than that of the plane, it can't have been a plane that hit it.
Yeah, but
that has been debunked.
Yeah, wouldn't it collapse in on itself and make the hole smaller?
No,
as well?
so the way it was explained when I read how it was debunked is like the plane hit the ground and the steel beam, the other wing broke on that, so it was just the body of the plane that made the hole. The two wings broke, so it wasn't the.
Oh, so it was just the fuselage.
Yeah. So that essentially debunked that. Some people probably still believe it, but.
Well, what's the other one that the heat wasn't strong enough?
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Yes. That was a big one. That's on the explosive theory of.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't need to melt, does it? It just needs to weaken it so it collapses.
Yeah, it doesn't need to melt all the way. No way.
Yeah,
because the weight of everything else
on top, it just needs to weaken it so that because it would have been built so it can hold a certain amount of weight.
Yeah,
not a plane.
And plus you got the extra weight of the plane. Plus the damage is done to the pylon.
Well.
Yeah,
but the heat, even if it didn't melt,
not to mention, it's not even that something went wrong with the steel beams themselves. They still have to be fixed at certain points, and if anything happens to those anchor points, the steel beam's going down.
Yeah. So that's the explosion theory.
Yeah, I think we debunked it ourselves.
but the biggest theory that I actually surprised me how weird, coincidental it is. So it was about like the stock market traders at the time apparently got inside knowledge that it was going to happen because. So there was an unusual amount of money poured into the American and United Airlines in the days prior.
Yeah.
A put contract is where you profit from a loss.
Yeah.
And
you bet the stock's going to go
down. A call contract is where you profit from a profit.
Yeah.
So 4,754 put contracts were put on United Airlines compared to 396 call options between September 6 and 7. So that's a ridiculous amount betting for a loss.
But surely the people who organised this, they're a huge organiser themselves, the Taliban or whoever organised this, surely they could have done it.
Potentially, yes.
Like, why would, if they knew they were going to crash into the
you absolutely tank the stock.
It's not like it was a plane. That plane must have taken a long time. And it happened on 9/11, 9/11.
Yeah.
You know, like it was completely planned for it to happen that day.
On September 10, there was 4,500 put contracts and 748 call contracts on American Airlines, the other airline. No other airline had unusual put-to-call ratios in the days leading up to it. The 9/11 Commission post 9/11 put it down as a coincidence. That's all they said on it.
I reckon it was probably the people who organised it knew this was going to go down.
Scary.
That would be the only thing that makes sense because there's no way that's a coincidence because that's a ridiculous amount betting on a loss on two huge airline companies.
It seems very unlikely, doesn't it?
And every other one just had normal trading.
It seems like a very unlikely coincidence.
But
we also don't know what else was happening with the airlines as well. There could have been they were doing a merger behind the backgrounds that we didn't know about, or
new policies
possible,
that they didn't agree with and stuff like that.
Yeah,
possible.
Or they could have been adding, different fees. There's all this stuff. There's so many possibilities.
There is, and I didn't read into it enough to know the background behind all that sort of stuff. So you're right, it could be that sort of stuff. But that's what I found most interesting about the 9/11 stuff because it's very coincidental if they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was based on American stock traders or just general stock traders because if it was American, then it can't have been.
It could have been because they could have had an American.
Yes,
American front.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to conspiracy theories that have been proven true. So no longer conspiracy theories. I'm going to name one, and you're going to tell me whether the statement itself is 100% factual or just part of it is factual.
Okay.
And then I'll explain what it is. And so, in the wake of Hiroshima, there was a conspiracy theory that the government was stealing dead bodies to do radioactive testing.
So I have to say if that's fully true or partly true?
Is that statement true or partly true?
I think it's partly true. I reckon they definitely did testing. I don't reckon they stole bodies. Wait, which government?
US, I believe.
Oh.
I don't have it here, but I believe
I'm going to say true then if it's US.
I'll say no.
I'll say true.
So you're saying fully true, partly true?
Yeah.
Alright, so you're correct, Shells. It turned out to be true, partly the government stole parts of dead bodies, more specifically tissue and limbs of dead children and babies, without permission of the families. About 1,500 families.
So it's only partially true, but
does it say which government?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I don't have it written.
It's only saying it's partially true by the fact they didn't steal an entire body.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they still stole the shot. They would have stolen the whole body still and then just cut it up. So when they were actually stealing it, they was like, let's cut it up on the spot here.
Well, because that way they'd probably go, oh, that's just damage from the blasts or whatever, and people not paying attention. Yeah. And that way you're not, and then people go, oh, there's...
It was proven true. It was proven true half a century later, and it had the name Project Sunshine.
Okay.
Well, it makes sense. I feel like me and Goo got ripped off.
It makes sense that they'd want to
just
test
like the skin tissue.
Yeah,
because if that was the strongest weapon,
we feel the pain now.
Why would they ask for permission from their enemies though? If it's
of the families, it's I know, but
how can you though?
Yeah, how could you?
Yeah, it's like, hey, by the way, we just bombed you. I know we killed your kid. But can I have his fucking pinky finger?
Yeah, and it doesn't say which government, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Japanese government.
It might be the Japanese government. I don't have that written.
That could potentially.
Because that makes more sense.
It makes more sense
than
the Japanese government.
Because they're like, what the hell just hit us? Let's work it out. That makes a lot more sense than America going, we know what this does.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us take samples of this. No, that doesn't really check out.
And then why would they go to a place that's infected with radiation after they bombed it?
Yeah, it
whereas the Japanese government already
didn't know. Yeah. Well, you get a point. Me and Gook get half a point. Because I feel like we're
I guess that's fair. Right, the CIA was testing LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs on Americans in a top secret experiment.
That's
on
true.
behavior.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Just because I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, so the program was known as MK Ultra, and it was real. The CIA.
They also did it with their the military as well.
There you go.
And what were some of the results?
So the program,
I guess people
eventually started dosing people without their knowledge. MK Ultra left many victims permanently mentally disabled.
What? Without their knowledge?
Yeah.
So they went from volunteers to without your knowledge, we're going to test you.
And massive amounts too.
Yeah.
Oh no! So you would have thought you were going crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh jeez.
So that's, I guess, 1.5 each.
Going places.
The FBI was spying on former Beatle John Lennon.
So is it partly true or true?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hang on.
So they're spying on other Beatles, and it's just
the Beatles.
That's the question, I guess.
I will go partly true.
I'll say partly true too.
I'll be the outlier. I'll say completely true.
Completely true is correct.
Fuck. Why?
So, like many counter-culture heroes, Lennon was considered a threat due to anti-war songs, give peace a chance, etc. This, the Nixon administration didn't like that. In 1971, the FBI put Lennon under surveillance, and the Immigration and Naturalization Service tried to deport him a year later.
Wow. So wait, what about the other Beatles though? They were part of it.
No, because this was when he was a solo artist.
Alright, so Gook's on 2.5. Show's on 2 and I'm on 1.5.
For decades, tobacco companies buried evidence that smoking is deadly.
That is completely true.
Surely that's true.
For decades, tobacco companies buried evidence that smoking is deadly.
That's 100% true. And, by the way, some women would prefer to have smaller babies. It's literally what someone from the tobacco company said. They said, there's no evidence that shows that mothers who smoke have unhealthy babies. Yes, they are smaller, but some mothers would prefer to have a smaller baby.
It's small because they're easier to
That's basically what you play. Easy to give birth.
Alright, so we're right then.
You are correct. At the beginning of the 1950s, research was showing an indisputable statistical link between smoking and lung cancer, but it wasn't until late 1990s that Philip Morris even admitted smoking could cause cancer. And then it just goes on to say...
Until the late when?
1990s, so 40 years.
That
late.
You know the tobacco company is actually the most profitable it's ever been?
Doesn't surprise
me. Because prices of smokes just keep going up.
No, Asian countries.
Ah, yeah.
They've expanded massively into other countries. Philip Morris International is...
Philip Morris is massive. Not so much down here. It's still
decent. There's Philip Morris, which sells to America, and there's Philip Morris International, which sells everywhere else. Yeah. And they make so much money off the tobaccos.
Okay.
The wacky tobacco.
Fun little fact for you.
Wacky tobacco.
Well, wacky tobacco is weird, actually.
Yeah. The last one I've got is during Prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking. To attempt to keep people from drinking.
Partially true.
Poison.
I reckon it's partially true because I reckon the alcohol was poisonous But I reckon it was only poisonous because people didn't have the skills to make it. They were making like moonshine and stuff, and they weren't making it as well. So I'm going partially true.
Well, I need to say true just so I can overtake shells.
Well, if you want to go that route, sure.
It is partially true, but I'm going to give shells an extra point.
What?
And I'll explain why. So
No, he gets half a point. That's bull.
Manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing their product with dangerous chemicals for years prior to the prohibition. So they were already mixing it with dangerous chemicals, they just didn't realise. But between 1933, the federal government pushed manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning the alcohol into moonshine. That's why you get the extra point.
Bullshit.
That didn't stop the bootleggers or their customers, and by the end of the prohibition, more than 10,000 Americans
I didn't know
had been killed by poisonous booze.
Yeah,
I didn't know that if you give extra information, you get double points.
The fact that he said moonshine and that's in my notes.
Yeah, but well, and do you know that a lot of people who voted for prohibition would drink in these secret pubs? Because they had secret pubs fronts, so they'd have like a milk bar or whatever, and then around the back they'd have drinks.
That's hilarious.
So you don't think he should get an extra point?
He should maybe get
An extra half?
a quarter.
You just don't want me to be
He gets
ahead
it.
of you.
He gets an
You're
extra
already
half.
ahead of me.
He gets an extra half, which pretty sure that puts you two on a tie and you're last. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so either
I'll
way.
lose either way.
Well,
Nice.
does anyone have any other conspiracy theories that we haven't just spoken about? That
There's the lizard people one, isn't
There's
there?
the lizard people.
The shadow government. The shadow government, yeah, everything behind the scenes is controlled by these lizard people.
And Prince Philip is a vampire.
Yes.
And
Because he's related to Vlad the Impaler.
yeah, that's always a vampire.
There is that whole vaccines cause autism.
Yeah.
There's that one as well.
Yeah, so
There's-
that one, I know a fair bit about it. It was one medical story that was published and said there was a link between the vaccines and autism. And one of the reasons that he did this is he was paid by people who had autistic kids to be able to sue Big Pharma.
Oh, that makes sense.
The thing was immediately debunked, and then the thing was pulled from the scientific journal, and the guy lost his doctorate, so he's no longer
Lost his
a licensed
medical
doctor.
license.
Yeah.
So he's no longer a licensed doctor, and ever since then, every study's come out disproving it. But because of that one study,
People just jumping on that
people
bandwagon.
jumped on that bandwagon, and
It's just become bigger than the actual
Yeah.
thing itself. Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons why it's so prominent is because, especially
Especially with COVID hitting.
the kids, like parents with kids, go, well, I don't want my kid to get, sick from autism, so I will not give them vaccines because they're not going to get sick either way, because the amount of diseases that have been stamped out by vaccines, people don't see it every day like they did with polio, where kids used to drop dead left, right, and
and
centre.
all that stuff.
That's pretty funny, though.
So people don't see it anymore, so they go, oh, it's
That's pretty funny
When was the
though.
last time you guys heard about
the
meningococcal?
Ages
Since I was
ago.
a kid.
Since I was a kid, apparently
I
it's really
don't
scary.
think I've heard about that since like 2003.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I remember that was scary when we were kids.
Yeah.
They told us our arms were going to fall off and shit. And I was like, fuck.
What?
Didn't you remember that?
I don't remember the arms fall off, but I remember they used scare tactics.
Yeah.
So I probably did say that.
Didn't JK's friend die from meningococcal, or was that not a true story?
I have no idea. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I probably made that up somewhere.
Someone died that we know? Or did we know someone who knows
I
it?
don't know.
Sorry, a friend
of mine.
Yeah. No, I just think it's funny before when you said that they don't want their kids to get sick from autism. Like it's a
Yeah.
flu or something. Like, oh, he's got the autism. He's home from school today.
It's a bit sad that people would rather let their kids die from a deadly disease than be autistic. Oh, and the other reason why it's so prominent is because the age at which kids get most of their vaccines is also the age at which autism signs start to
Yeah,
show
there you
up.
go. It's just a coincidence. Well, that's not even a coincidence. That's just because kids,
Coincidental time.
when they start getting into their teens, that's when the
Well, it's when they're
This is before. It's what is it?
It's like 3-4 years old or something like that they start.
Oh
showing
yeah, of
signs.
course. What
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, any other conspiracy theories before we wrap it up?
That's all I've got, mate.
No. All right.
No, I'm good.
So that's the episode. Next episode, Shells is the host. And what have we got next episode, Shells?
I'm discussing the world of Pokemon.
Oh gosh, Pokemon.
Childhood.
Pokemans. All right, cool.
We've
So I
got
guess
150 and more to see. So.
a hell of a lot more. Over 1,000 now.
Yeah.
And we're going to be the very best. So
All right,
let's wrap
everyone,
it up.
group dab to finish it off. Ready, set.
And away we go.